Hi, this is One God Ministries, and today we're going to talk about the topic Jesus is omnipresent. This is our video 33. So you may wonder, is really Jesus omnipresent, or is he only in the heavens, sitting in the throne? Okay, so in this video, we will discuss why Jesus is omnipresent. So we will divide it into several subtopics. The first is that Jesus gives the Holy Spirit. Second, the Holy Spirit is the Spirit of Christ. And third, that the Holy Spirit of God is actually omnipresent. So Jesus gives the Holy Spirit. In John chapter 1 verse 33, we see that John the Baptist stated, "The man on whom you see the Spirit come down and remain is he who will baptize with the Holy Spirit." So when John was baptizing with water, he said that the Holy Spirit will come down on a person, and in that verse he was pinpointing to Jesus Christ. And he said that Jesus Christ will baptize with the Holy Spirit. So in John 20 verse 22, we can see in here the baptism of the Holy Spirit by Jesus Christ. So Jesus said, "I quote, peace be with you. As the Father has sent me, I am sending you." And with that, he breathed on them and said, "Receive the Holy Spirit." So we see in here that the Holy Spirit comes through Jesus Christ. He is the one who sends the Holy Spirit. In John 14 verse 16, Jesus Christ further explains, I quote, "And I will ask the Father, and he will give you another counselor to be with you forever, the Spirit of truth. The world cannot accept him because it neither sees him nor knows him. But you will know him, for he lives with you and will be in you." Notice in here that Jesus Christ was referring to another counselor, meaning another manifestation of God, the Spirit of truth, and that is none other than the Holy Spirit. And he said specifically that the Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit of God, will live in you and will be in you. And then he said, "I will not leave you as orphans, I will come to you." So we see in here that Jesus Christ promised that he will send the Holy Spirit, but he also stated in the last verse, verse 18, that it will be him who will come. So the Holy Spirit is sent, but Jesus is the one who comes. Have you noticed what this means? This means only one thing, that the Holy Spirit is actually the Spirit of Christ. Try to think about it. Now let's look at the other verses. If really the scriptures say that the Spirit of Jesus Christ is really the Holy Spirit. In Romans 8 verse 9, the Apostle Paul stated, "You, however, are controlled not by the sinful nature, but by the Spirit, if the Spirit of God lives in you." Notice he was talking about the Holy Spirit. And he continues, "And if anyone does not have the Spirit of Christ, he does not belong to Christ. But if Christ is in you, your body is dead because of sin, yet your spirit is alive because of righteousness. Try to recall the earlier verse stated that the Spirit of God, the other counselor, will be sent and he will live inside of us. And in here, the Apostle Paul is stating that Christ will live in you. And he calls it as the Spirit of God and the Spirit of Christ. So notice that the Spirit of God and the Spirit of Christ are treated as one and the same by the Apostle Paul. And he continues, and if the Spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead is living in you, he who raised Christ from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies through his Spirit who lives in you. Again, this is proving to us the fact that the Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit, is the one who raised Jesus from the dead. And he said that he will live inside of you. And in the earlier verse, the Apostle Paul stated, it is the Spirit of Christ within us. So let's go on further. In Galatians 4, verse 6, again the Apostle Paul states, because you are sons, God sent the Spirit of His Son into our hearts, the Spirit who calls out, Abba, Father. Notice that the one who lives in our hearts is actually the Spirit of His Son, who gives us the right to call the Father in heaven as Abba, Father. Okay? So we notice very clearly that it is the Spirit of Jesus Christ who is living in our hearts. Again, this is further proof that the earlier verses stated that the Holy Spirit living in our heart lives in you, as Jesus Christ said, is now called the Spirit of His Son, showing undeniably that the Holy Spirit of God and the Spirit of Christ are just one and the same. So the next thing we are going to look is that the Holy Spirit of God is actually omnipresent. He can be present anywhere. In Psalm 139, verse 7, it is stated, where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed to the depths, you are there. So the psalmist stated that God is actually omnipresent. That is, the Holy Spirit of God is omnipresent. Okay? And then in 1 Corinthians 6:19, the Apostle Paul states, do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit? So, the Holy Spirit also resides into the true believers of Jesus Christ. 1 Corinthians 3:16 stated, don't you know that you yourselves are God's temple and that God's Spirit lives in you? Notice that the body of the Christian is called God's temple. You know, in the Old Testament, in the Old Covenant, God's temple was the temple, the physical temple, wherein the Shekinah glory of God, the presence of God, was there. And that was representative of the Spirit of God. And in the New Covenant, the true followers and believers of Jesus Christ are now God's temple, and the Holy Spirit is living inside of them. And as we have seen in the earlier verses, Jesus Christ Himself lives inside these believers. Again, in 2 Corinthians 6:16, the Apostle Paul states, "For we are the temple of the living God, as God has said, I will live with them and walk among them, and I will be their God, and they will be my people." So notice the Holy Spirit that lives in you is also called the Spirit of His Son in the earlier verses, giving further proof Jesus is the Holy Spirit. So in conclusion, we notice the following. The first, we have seen undeniably in verses after verses after verses that the Scriptures equates the Holy Spirit of God and the Spirit of Jesus Christ as one and the same. So what other people say that the Holy Spirit is not Jesus Christ is actually unscriptural. In fact, the Scriptures strongly pinpoint that the Holy Spirit and the Spirit of Jesus Christ is one and the same. Jesus Christ then is omnipresent as the Holy Spirit is omnipresent in the verses we had showed earlier. This is also the reason why the Holy Spirit is given only through Jesus Christ as cited in the earlier verses, when only through Jesus Christ is the Holy Spirit breathed by Him. And this is also the reason why only the true believers of Jesus Christ really has the Holy Spirit in them, which is called in Ephesians 1:13 and Ephesians 4:30 as the seal of redemption. So with this, I hope I have clarified a lot of things, that the Holy Spirit of God and the Spirit of Christ is one and the same, and that the Holy Spirit is also Jesus Christ, and that He is present in the body of the believers. Okay, I hope you would review the verses cited earlier so that you will be convinced beyond doubt that Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit are just one and the same. Okay, so this is One God Ministries. This is our YouTube channel. And if you want to view our other videos to be enlightened on the Scriptures, simply type One God Ministries in YouTube and click. Okay, so until next time, this is One God Ministries. Thank you.